If you own rental properties in Idaho and you're not sure if your manager's doing everything right or if you're doing everything right, this case study is for you. I'm going to be going over 2 different investor case studies. One that had a prior manager and it was vacant for 3 months before it got filled. Another that had a different property manager that managed him into a legal and lease mess. So who am I? I am Brady Bell. I'm the founder and CEO of Bellhaven Real Estate. Over my career, I've helped fill hundreds of vacancies, collected over $2 million in on-time rent. I spent over $25,000 with attorneys perfecting our lease to help keep you out of court. So let's get started. Case study number 1, Walker. He was a first-time landlord. He originally hired a different property manager, or I think it maybe was his realtor, but the house sat vacant for 3 months. There's no applications, no showing. So 3 months of no rent, 3 months of paying your mortgage. And it was his first time into landlording. He hadn't rented his house before. So what a crappy start, right? Here is the history. So this is just pulled right off of Zillow, the listing history actually. So you can see they originally listed it and it was up for 3 months and then they took it down. You can see our listing goes up and down in 2 weeks. From Walker's opinion, he said there wasn't any showings, there were no applications, and he doesn't know if there were even any inquiries. He actually lost almost $5,000 in rent. Above all, the property was listed in the off season now, because when we took it on in December, that's a bad time to list. So let's see here. So what did we do, right? Did we just lower the price? No, we didn't. So here's just the one photo, the hero photo. It's the first photo you'll see when you're looking at any property. When you're scrolling Zillow, that picture you see, it has to grab your attention. On the left side, you'll see what it was before, and on the right side, you'll see what it was after. Clearly better, right? Having professional photography makes a difference, and it shows. In 3 months, they had only had 2,300 people look at his listing. In 2 weeks, we had double that. The market was working against us. We are having to list and find a tenant in the worst season. Christmas time, basically. And here's why we had to do that. Here on the left side, you'll see a graph of Zillow. This is the average national rent trend. And you can see November through February is down about 10% from May through August, roughly. On the right side, you'll see the Google's trends. This is search for home for rent. Over the last 5 years, you can see there is a peak between May and September and a valley between October and April. There's twice the amount of people looking for homes for rent during the summer season. Twice the amount, right? Huge difference. So how do we get the price and listing right on the first go to fill this in 2 weeks? We start off by pulling our database. On the left side, you'll see just a rough comp report. This is what we start with. This is all the stuff that had been listed and rented already and what it was rented at. Tells us what happened in the past. Gives us a good idea for what is likely to happen. But what we really need to do is compare to what's available now. In his case, he had 1 or 2 really good comparables that were competing against his listing. And on the left side, you'll see the listing of the other property manager. And if you just look at these 2 ads, just look at the pictures side by side, right? Which one are you going to click on? You're going to click on the one on the right. That's the professional photography. We actually had to use editing because this happened in winter. So we had to replace the grass in editing. We did the sky. We make the windows pop. It just comes down to who is going to click on the ad. And you want your listing to be in a position where more people will click on yours versus the competition. This goes for selling a house too, but really goes for that on renting because people really look at what else is out there, who your competition is. All right, great. So what actual results happened? So as you know, 49 leads, 25 of those leads were qualified, meaning they had sufficient income. All of them gave us their name, email, phone number. So we can use all of those sort of leads to cover our other listings. Of those 25, 19 ended up wanting to do a showing, but only 16 showed. Those 3, we don't want them. Those are a blessing in disguise. If they can't show up to a showing, they can't be our tenant. It's just a responsibility thing. So that's the first portion of vetting that we're doing. Of those 16, 4 sent an application. With 4 people sending in an application, you actually get to pick from the best. And we got the best. 760 plus credit score, 4 times rent, 8 months in reserves, right? So they had plenty of money in the bank in case if something went wrong. In addition to this, we also fixed a couple things. So this was happening off season. So we signed a 15-month lease, which will put our expiration in the on season. The tenant paid all utilities. They had all the utilities in their name. They paid their first month's rent and deposit before they ever moved in. No squatting issues, everything nice and square, right? So what are the key takeaways of this? Get good photography and write an ad like you're marketing something, right? A billboard that sticks out, it sticks out for a reason. Your ad on your rental should be the same way. Visibility has a huge impact on rent. Pricing matters. Even just $100 too high could cause a 3-month vacancy. In this case, it was $150 too high, caused a 3-month vacancy. Trying to squeeze out that little bit of extra rent is not worth it if you're not going to rent the place. And list everywhere. There's Facebook Marketplace. It's easy and free. There's Zillow, Homes.com, Redfin. We list on like 25 different sites. It makes a difference. So right price, good listing, high visibility equals multiple applicants and fast filled leases. And just a quick reminder, if you want help with this, we have a free community we're building on Skool. I actually sent you an invite. If you're watching this video, you'll have gotten an email that looks something like this. Go join, post up, and we'll help you for free in that group. All right, next up, let's check out Joshua, right? He's another client of ours that onboarded. He has 2 townhouses in our area. He actually had a different property manager that he thought he was doing really good, but come to find out, they really weren't after we did our initial audit. The first thing we noticed is his professional manager was using a downloaded free lease. I guess it works. It's a lease. It's better than nothing. But if you're paying somebody, you think they'd have vetted their lease. But what's the problem? Like, why does this even matter? Well, if you just download your lease off the internet, you probably don't know it. You don't want to just go use AI to make up a lease either. It really makes sense to sit with an attorney and get something built out that works for your needs. They had conflicting things on their lease. They say it's due on the 15th, and then here it says it's on the 1st. Here they say they have 2 pets. On their rent roll, they say have 1. If you don't know your lease, how are you going to manage it in accordance to the lease? If you don't follow your lease, what's the point of having the lease? This lease didn't have a severability clause. What's that? It's basically a safety net. It tells the judge that if something in your lease is illegal or unenforceable, it doesn't kill the whole lease. It only kills that one portion. Our severability clause here, it'll be modified automatically to what the law allows, basically. Also, if you want all of our lease clauses in that Skool group I said, we have a document with over 72 lease clauses that we've spent thousands of dollars perfecting. So if you want that, go ahead and download it. Okay, so a few bad lease clauses. What else? Off-season expiration. Leasing 101, set yourself up for success. All of the leases we've taken on from Josh were expiring in November and December, the worst time. And then above that, they also had to vacate the premises when they did expire, which basically means that if you want to keep them there, you have to renegotiate the terms. On the off season, if you're having to renegotiate your terms on the off season, it's just setting you up for bad rents. And if it goes vacant, it's setting you up to longer vacancies. So here's how we solved it. This is out of our internal guidelines for where we're picking to extend leases, but basically we want to hit between March and June, sometimes July or August, even a little better. We like to be a little bit earlier into the season, just in case if we have a couple month extension with somebody, it still keeps us in that peak window. And here is the table we use when we're picking lease terms. So we typically try to do between a 6 and 24 month lease to hit our peak season for expiration and get the most rent when something does come up. It's just all about the numbers. How do you make the most amount of money out of a property as possible? Bottom line, the lease is all about risk prevention. A bad lease will give you high risk. If you go to court and you have a bad lease, you're probably going to lose more money than you should have. Good lease, lower risk. Honorable mention, Joseph is self-managing 6 units. Leases were inconsistent. They weren't being enforced. He had no inspections. Tenants were kind of just paying whenever. And it just goes to show that these audits aren't unique. Almost every property we've onboarded has these exact same problems, whether it's coming from a self-manager or from another property manager. So if you want our help, we have management plans starting at just $49 a month. That's full service. Everybody that starts into our property management gets this full onboarding audit, and we are bound to find something and we will fix it. Feel free to scroll down below and you can book a call completely free with one of our account executives. It takes about 15 minutes. We'll do some high-level strategy talk with you, just like what we kind of went over on this video. But thanks for watching.